Welcome back to another episode of Stereotherapy. I'm your host, Lisa,
And I'm Justine.
and today we are diving in to the 17 new tracks from Hayley Williams. I'm really glad, Justine, that you suggested this episode
Yeah.
because it was just the timing was right. As everyone knows, we've had a lot of guests, which we love the guests. It's amazing. We've been really lucky with some really amazing guests to share. But sometimes it's just nice to hop on here. And obviously, Hayley Williams decided to grace us with 17 new tracks. Some want to call it an album. She's not calling it an album. Either way,
Yeah.
they're new, it's new music and it's great. And so we have to discuss it. And obviously, if you guys know, if you've listened, we are not that typical show to be like, this is our review and yay or
Yeah.
nay. No, we are celebrating her record. So before we get into the new tracks,
It's hard not to call it a record. It's
right?
it's
To
like a
us,
record's worth of songs.
right,
It's not a record.
exactly. And then some, right? Because it's 17. So
Yeah.
let's just get into it. Justine, I would love to know, let's just talk about the overall importance of Hayley Williams. I know we have talked about it, whether you want to talk about your life, the scene,
Yeah.
how anything we've not talked about yet about Hayley Williams being important.
Well, I mean, give it, I'm sure it all encompasses how we've always talked about her, but
Yeah.
still, she has really shown to everybody that starting young and being one of the few girls in a male dominated scene doesn't mean you won't make it.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean that all of it was easy for her. Obviously, she really had to persevere through all of the things that she has dealt with because of that. And because of everything she's been through, you're able to see how well she has been up and coming to get to where she is and to continue on. And she just, the way she does it is also when new girls come into the scene or just, anybody that's up and coming, doesn't even necessarily need to be specific to her scene. She always just is like, you're next in line, you're here, welcome to the music world, and that's so important to see. And I don't see as many people doing that as they should. No shade, but like she is the main one that I have seen consistently doing that for the new up and coming girls. I also think it's really important that to see that she has always been very consistent and using her voice for movements and stances that she believes in. And it really goes to show like she is going to talk about the things that she sees that she believes in and from a personal stance sometimes as well. And that's super important to see, especially now, like more than ever. And I think that the things that she does when it comes to like the new up and coming artist with using her voice and everything and just her talent in general, like I personally believe that she is one of the most important musicians in our generation. If anybody were to ask me specifically a millennial artist, she is always going to be the first one out of my mouth. And some people might argue with me, and I'm going to tell you that you need to shut the fuck up. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, it's true. Like,
Yeah.
I think she's more consistent with everything. I think she's more of a powerhouse than some others. Like, I think on top of it all, I truly think that compared to a bunch of others, she is one of the greatest role models there is out there for female representation.
Oh, yeah. That's been that. And I think too, maybe if you were a younger fan and got into
Mhm.
Paramore in the beginning and
Yeah.
Goodbye Ramen, I mean, that's where I got my introduction. I got handed a box and it was like, promote this new band, Paramore. And I think if you weren't into them or you just saw this young girl, but I
Mhm.
think people forget too, she is right around our ages. A lot of us that are in the
Yeah.
tail end of our 30s, she's there. And I think that, um, like you said, like she's really it's been really exciting to see us grow with her. So
Yeah.
like especially where maybe not saying we were silent about anything, but you think about your
Yeah.
20s, right? And then now you're in your
Mhm.
30s. And
Yeah.
I think to see her go that same path has been
Mhm.
special for me, where I'm like, she's speaking up on this.
Yeah.
I'm more vocal, a lot more vocal about things than I would
Mhm.
have been. And I think
Yeah.
that it's really cool to grow with an artist. And that's what I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of us, like, I know a lot of people that they say the same thing about Taylor Swift. I didn't grow up with Taylor Swift.
Yeah. It's like,
I
Yeah.
can't relate.
Yeah.
Again, to each their own. But for me, my Taylor Swift would be Hayley Williams. I grew
Hmm.
up with her.
Yeah.
You grew up with her. So many
Yeah.
people probably listening to this did. And I think that some people maybe wrote Paramore off too, like, oh, they're just Riot. I just like them. But if
Hmm.
you grew with them, and then specifically her solo stuff, you see the growth there. And
Yeah.
I just think she's so important, not only to artists, but for women,
Yeah.
for marginalized communities. Like,
Hmm.
just she's so important. And I think if so many people maybe aren't into her solo work, which I respect that, I understand that. I think if you really take a listen, you can truly hear the growth. And
Yeah.
maybe where, okay, you didn't like Riot or you didn't like All We Know Is Falling, that kind of Paramore.
Hmm.
But you hear it on their last record, This Is Why. So you hear the
Yeah.
growth there. And
I
then,
like, to kind of speak on that too, and I feel like we've talked about it somewhere. It might not even been an episode, but like I personally feel that everything that's happened, like the later years, she keeps putting out the most like best work she's doing like each time, and you have some people that are just very stuck in like nostalgia and it's
Mhm.
only about the early records and give it, yeah, that's where I started
Right.
obviously, and this is where we started with her, but like, and I have love for her because of that, but like, do I think that's the best work? No, I don't,
No.
and I know people hate us for that, but
Mhm.
as two women that have grown up with somebody like this, and for her to openly talk about things that we have struggled with. Like, I've
Mhm.
had a really horrible abusive divorce.
Yeah.
She had a divorce, she's had trauma, she's talked about it. And to have that happen with somebody in her position,
Hmm.
like, I don't think people understand how much growth and healing and inspiring that is to see that's happening with somebody like that.
Hmm.
And it's so important to see. And it's so it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't relate to the teenage Haley so much anymore because I'm
No.
old.
Yeah.
But like, I do think that the work really speaks for itself, and she's getting better and better as the years go on. And I think people that are refusing to see that are just in denial.
I think to the people, to a lot of people, I know for a fact when Petals for Armor came out, so many people I know didn't give it the time of day, listened once and said, to me, I was always a stan of her solo stuff. I was like, I love Paramore as a band, but I think that's where we really got to hear and see that outlet and music as an
Yeah.
outlet for her, especially songs like Simmer. And I know we're not talking about Petals for Armor today, but it's like, I think about that. And then now you hear these 17 songs and you're like, okay, you just branched off and had more of an outlet to talk about these things. And I know we're going to get into the songs in a little bit, but for me, the coolest thing I think about these 17 songs releases of the way she did it. So
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
obviously Mirtazapine or is it
It's
Mirtazapine or Mirtazapine?
Metazapine.
I think how she did that with the radio and
Mm-hmm.
how that's
Yeah.
how they heard it. Then she obviously performed with Jack Antonoff. And then we hear, oh my gosh, you can get these songs if you have a code and you buy Ego. And
Hmm.
I think the really cool community aspect of it was at first I thought no one's going to give a code. No one's going to really and again, you don't have to, right? You
Hmm.
didn't
Yeah.
have to. I think what was really cool is people did.
Yeah.
And shout out to my friend Kanan. I'm sure she'll listen to this. She's a big Paramore fan. She gave me the code. And it was one of those things of that community of here, you want to hear this. Here you go.
Hmm.
And then not
Yeah.
even that, TikTok people are like, here's my code and all the different codes. And it was
Hmm.
really cool, especially in a time right now where a lot of people are divided.
Yeah.
We're all coming together over like it was almost like a scavenger hunt. Like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, find this and
Yeah.
the codes and sharing and again, then the songs going away and then people creating Google Drives and sharing the Google
Hmm.
Drives with us. I think it was really cool and reminded me of like MySpace days where
Yeah.
people would create these things and the community. And there was an interview Hayley did, I believe it was on Apple Music, and she said she misses the community aspect that helped grew her from the street
Yeah.
team, which I was lucky to be a part of. I know so many others too. And it was really cool. I mean, I remember I gave you the code too. I'm sure you
Hmm.
saw other codes, but it was like
Yeah.
it was one of those things of I love how she rolled this out. And she's Hayley Williams. She could have rolled this out any other way. The way she
Yeah.
chose to do it made like it show that music is just so special.
Yeah.
And it's, I think for you, what did you see as far as people sharing? Like I know you obviously probably did see people sharing. Like, did you experience anything as far as like people kind of being a community?
So I just wanted to go back to the how she debuted it because that's how
Yeah.
I found out about the new music is
Mm-hmm.
that we all got excited, all of us with our once we found out in the picture of the CD she sent in to the Nashville's public radio, mind you.
Yeah.
And I think that was so important too, is that she did this with public radio when it's been very under attack.
Yeah.
And she really wanted to use her influence to show that, like, well, this is how I'm going to release this.
Mm-hmm.
It's going straight to public radio, and that's how everybody finds out about it. And I think that it really just took me back to us as millennials and how we would find out about music. It was always on the radio first. We would
Right.
find out that there was going to be a new release, there was going to be a new
Mm-hmm.
song debuted at this time, and it just took me back to those days. And you would hear it on the radio, and then you would go to download it onto the computer,
Yeah.
whether it's like LimeWire or Napster back in the day, or just, any of those sites. And we would put it on the computer. And then it just made me think of my big desktop computer
Mm-hmm.
where I always, was the one that put the home screen on it, and me and my brother would fight over what the home screen would be sometimes when he still lived at home. Just like
Oh,
being at my big desk, the big desktop computer, which we all shared as family, obviously, because back in the day, you only had one
yeah.
big ass computer because it was too
Oh,
expensive.
yeah.
And just discovering music that way and loving music and being on my computer and it being a safe space and for it to just even look like the little media players that we would
That's what I'm
use
saying.
for it.
Right? The overall look of it
Uh,
reminded me of whoever I know she posted about it on a story. Whoever designed that, that is
yeah.
really, really cool because that again, it reminded me just like you're saying, like
Hmm.
where you would go on your computer and just have songs. Like we
Yeah.
forget the
Hmm.
playlist, it would just be in a
Yeah.
folder and weird
Hmm.
names because like LimeWire and all that. But like
Yeah.
it
Hmm.
was one of those things of like I loved the overall look and layout of it that
Yes.
and again, she could have done anything with this. She chose to do this, which was really,
Yeah.
really, really cool.
And I think what's also extra special with this is that, like, for us, it's nostalgia. For this, is for the younger generations to experience and get a glimpse of what music was for us back in the day.
Yeah.
Because they have never experienced getting music like this. They never
Mm-mm.
had experience finding out about it on the radio, having to like search for it, having to share it with other fans, together, which, we've all done that. It's just, it was so beautiful to see because in a day and age where with everything going on in the world, people keep talking about stressing, you need to be with your community, you need to find your community, and nobody understands what that means. And in a way, Haley was just like, "Oh, I'll show you what it meant in the music scene back in the day.
Mhm.
And
Oh
you have
yeah.
to work together, you have to figure out things together." And I think it was a really beautiful way to try to help the younger generation to kind of understand that there was a time and space where things weren't just right there.
Mhm.
You had to work to get it. You had to talk with other people. And I really thought it was beautiful. And it was just so well done. And again, like even just down to how it looked, like it was all just so perfect. And I have been so amped up from it and how she did this.
Oh, and I love like I didn't get my hands on the hair dye.
That was awesome.
Shout out to my friend Kanan
Yeah.
because she got it and she didn't know it was signed.
Hmm.
And I think it's really cool that they did that and
Hmm.
then once it was released, you saw a photo. So obviously this
Hmm.
was all planned. It was a
Yeah.
big thing. But I think it's really cool because again, being Hayley Williams, when you release anything solo, it's oh, it's Paramore over, is this and that. And what
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
loved, and honestly, not to plug our last episode that went out with Eric Tobin of Hopeless, we talked about music as a discussion
Yeah.
and it created discussion with the people. And that's what this did. So what him and I
Hmm.
talked about and the beauty of music and creating that, there were so many people that like, okay, what are your songs? But also like how she's created community. Another way is, and I created mine, but the playlist she wanted you to
Yeah.
create. What
Mhm.
is the order? What is your story? And me, I'm someone that listens to records and I pick up any guest we have. I'm like, yeah, there's the song here. So clearly there was a reason for the placement here. And 9 times out of 10, the artists are like, yes, there was a reason for that. There was a reason
Mhm.
for there. And I think to be able to create your own and then share them with each other and then post them and then share them with her. Now, I shared mine. I don't know what's going to happen, although it was so fun to like create my story. Like I put
Mhm.
songs of like maybe I'll post mine. Like it's on our story now, but it's going to go away by the time this is out. But I had like my story in the middle of it where it was like disappearing man and Whim was around there and so many things I placed where you're going through maybe like Whim, you're thinking of starting something new, and then before that was like disappearing man. Well, that led you here, and like it was so cool to like look at all the songs and like how would I want my Hayley record to start, and then talk to my friends. How did yours start? And then look at their playlist and pass my playlist off. And whether Hayley shares mine or not, it was really cool. And I would love if more artists did something cool like that, where like
Yeah.
I connected with so many people where they're like, oh my gosh, I see your story of the love. And I think, and like how I ended it, and even then I was like, oh, like, I don't know where to put this song, but how do I start my record? Because like for me, a starting and ending is so important.
Mhm.
And for me, like again, I'll post it because it was just like so cool to think about that. I'm not saying we're artists, but like get into
You're
that
part of the
mindset,
process. Uh-huh.
and like how
Yeah.
do you put this record? Because all of us look at our favorite records, whether it's a Paramore record or not. I'm like, where do they put them and how hard that is? That is so
Mhm.
hard to figure out the placements. And then I'm like, wait, I can't change this. And I couldn't figure out how to edit it. And then again, my friend Kanan was like amazing. It was like, here's what you do because I use Apple Music. So I'm like trying to do it. And I think that overall thing and like me listening back to my playlist, I was like, yeah, this is a masterpiece. All right, guys, this is a masterpiece. Someone else might think it's stupid, but like, then I'm sure if I look at it again, I may be like, at a different point in my life, maybe I need to shuffle these a little bit. Like, what, maybe I'm not here yet. So I don't know. Like, did you create a playlist yet? Or are you working on one?
No, in true autistic fashion, I kept it the same order I listened to it
Yeah.
originally. I'm yeah, I can't share that unless I specifically am like, yeah, no, I'm autistic. I keep it exactly how I listened to it originally. And for me, it's like I tend to always end up favoring like songs that start the album. And
Mm-hmm.
some of my favorite ones started this list the way
Yeah.
she wanted. So I was just like, I'm fine. Like, this is fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing too. Like it's really like interesting. Like, okay, your take, but my take, I was
Yeah.
like, I want a story. What's my story
Hmm.
in it? And it's like, and then there's some people that are just like you that are like, no, this is how I want it, and I just want it in this way because this is the way I found it or it was
Hmm.
delivered. And I just think that's really, really cool. And again, proving her wanting that community. And if somehow you're listening to this, Hayley Williams, like we're letting you know, like we are Hayley stands forever. I don't know if this is ever going to get to Hayley.
Yeah.
Just want that out there.
Yeah. Like literally, we're gonna stick with that girl to the end of time.
Oh,
Like,
and that's the thing too. I tell people, and I think, and again, there's those artists you grow with and you're with,
mhm.
and I've really defended everything Haley has
Yeah.
done as far as musically. Like, I don't want people to take that the wrong way, like, but like musically, because I think that her going the solo route was really, really cool to hear what would that sound like. I know a lot of people get nervous when people go solo. They think they're leaving it behind, but there's even nods in this. If you hear, I think it's like in the glass of OJ, where not
She's screaming
glass,
out in a band.
yeah, yes, and she's screaming, and it's
Yeah.
not glass in a OJ. What is it called?
I thought what the ice in
Ice,
the other day.
ice, because someone is going to
Yeah.
kill me on that. But listen,
Mhm.
this just came out. But yeah, there's little nods there to where, listen, it's wonderful what Paramore is. It's also wonderful to hear her as a person. What is she feeling? What does she want to get off her chest? And I think now that we've been kind of talking about it, I would love to hear um any favorite tracks. I mean, I know there's a lot of them. I'm sure what we say
Yeah.
today, it could change tomorrow. But for you, what are those tracks that either you're going back to or you're like your favorites?
So I think it would be silly not to immediately talk about True Believer.
Yeah.
It has oh my gosh, it's literally one of the most powerful songs that I've heard in a while
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah.
Um, I think what's really great about this is just like it's covering a couple different aspects. You have things like people that are deconstructing from all their trauma from church.
Hmm.
Um, you have people talking about where she kind of talks about the hypocrisy of church, about the people that are going with, who have the guns the size of their children.
And we've all seen
And
those posts on social media,
we've
so we
all
know we're
seen it exactly what she was getting at,
Mhm.
to like covering racism in the South. It's been so beautiful to see the reaction from the Black community hearing this song for the very first time.
Yes.
And they're
Yes.
both joyful and impressed with the references to history. Like Strange Fruit is in references to a song that Billie Holiday made famous, which is
Hmm.
referencing a famous poem, which is about lynching in the South. And which you have a lot of people who are white discovering this, and they had no idea. I did, but obviously I'm a history nerd and I am a music nerd,
Right.
and
So
I'm
I
aware of Billie Holiday. I'm aware of history, so it's kind of like that one I knew, but what I didn't know of was Hard Bargain, which
hmm
is a Black neighborhood in Tennessee, which was made by a former slave. And because that community was thriving and doing really well and doing so good, they started to deal with fires. And what we're seeing a lot currently in our country again is
Yeah.
gentrification and
Yes.
foreclosures and just all this attacks that happen on Black communities that do really well, especially after the Civil War. And that one was new, and I hadn't heard about that. And I was just like, God, there's so many good references in that song. And it's beautiful to see how not only you're having like the white community, especially discovering these things with this song, but you're seeing the Black community, and they're just like, oh my God, this girl gets it. She
Oh,
knows the history. She's covering all these topics perfectly well. And the first time I heard the line, the South will not rise again until it's paid for all of its sins,
hmm
I fucking hollered. I was so
yeah.
fucking excited. It
Oh,
was like so good.
do you know what I
Oh.
loved too? And like you're talking about, like, because I knew Strange Fruit as well,
Mhm,
but it was one of those things of I remember when we had Ryan on of Scary Hours, and
mhm.
he had said whether you look at the liner notes or you hear something in a song and you want to be like you talking about leftover crack
Yeah.
and those things of like him finding something, and I immediately thought of him in that conversation
Yeah.
of this is what we're talking about, where music can lead you, because again, I guarantee a lot of people didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
too, like I had that one too as well. And I think it's because the overall tempo is definitely planned out. So
Mhm.
you have to listen to every single line
Yeah.
instead of it being moving a little faster.
Hmm.
Each line is spaced out at a specific tempo. So you stick with it, then go to the next. And for me,
Absolutely.
that's what was so hard hitting of it was in true ADHD fashion, where I want it like, give it to me.
Hmm.
I made my brain focus on it. And I
Hmm.
think that was definitely, when we talk about planning things out, that was definitely planned because each
Hmm.
line, and I think especially if you see people
There's
putting
so
it
much
in
in it.
TikToks or something, you see, like,
So
you
good.
stop at that, and it's like, I even how she said, like, South will not rise again, and like
Hmm.
just how that part is spaced out. And I think everything else aside in the song, just how smart that song is spaced out to make you
Hmm.
sit and listen
Oh my God,
and
it's
then
so
sit in
done well.
silence after it. I think a lot of times,
Mhm.
um, and again, when the minute I heard that, I was like,
I literally was
this.
just like quaking in my boots. It was so, like I said,
Yeah.
like that's probably the most powerful song I've heard in a long time.
hmm And you know
Like
what's
a lot of
interesting?
information, lots of just like she nailed it. Like if you did not pay attention to that song, why? Like what were
Well,
you
we did.
doing?
Well, I
Like,
probably know why, but
well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like where it's
yeah,
just like
because I'm sure that's going to
this
ruffle
song
some
had
feathers.
meaning. This song had meaning and
Yeah.
purpose.
Well, and if we're going to talk about that too, if you notice, that song was the most talked about song on this 17
Mhm.
songs, in my opinion. It's the
Yes,
number
no,
one
I
thing.
agree. I agree.
But your major Spotify and Apple, sorry, Spotify, I know we're on here. They you would think, why did they put Glum? They did not want to put this song out there, in my opinion. So I think for me, it was really bothering me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like this is the most talked about song on these 17
100%
songs,
is.
and why
A
that one
hundred
should be
percent
front and
is.
center. It is
Yeah.
the
No.
top one. You
Yeah.
search Hayley Williams. Again, all of them are great, but it made
Yeah.
me
No.
think like,
Like this is the top song of the album. Like there's
yeah,
no beating it. Like this is like if a song is gonna get mentioned in the history books from Haley, it's gonna be that one.
mm-hmm,
Like
yeah.
so much. Like again, like with the themes with religion and oh
Mhm.
my god, when she said that they made him a white face.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god. I was just
Yeah,
like,
so they don't have to
fuck
pray to someone that
yes.
they deem lesser than them.
Yes.
And I think,
Yes.
again, anyone
Oh,
else that's
so
listening to
good.
this, I mean, I hope you're on the same page as us of like, you see that. And anyone
Mhm.
you know that maybe a certain way,
Mhm.
you see that. And I've
Mhm.
seen that. I personally live
Yep.
in an area where it is very
Mhm.
religious. And it's one of those things of, I've always questioned that as someone that's not religious. And I see.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that's a number one. If you're on the fence, you haven't listened to it, and you want something powerful, whether you agree or not agree with what she's saying, or you have any reservations about it, which I don't see why, but I'm just trying to play like, okay, maybe you don't see things that way. Listen to it, then look up Strange Fruit, look up Hard
Yeah. I
Bargain,
will say,
look up
regardless,
what's going
this
on.
is our country's history.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
need to know it, and I don't care how much certain administration wants to delete our history and what we have been built on. This is what we were built on,
hmm. Oh,
and it should be discussed.
yeah. I
Whether
mean,
you
yeah.
like it or not, you know, it should be discussed.
Yes, and there's a reason, and I think much like with Ryan of Scary Hours, there's things
Mhm.
he didn't learn in school, there's things I didn't learn in school,
Yes.
things you didn't learn in school.
Yeah.
And I think right
It takes
now,
things like this sometimes
mhm,
to get you to realize that you do not learn everything you're supposed to in school.
no.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, we could probably go on about that one forever. That's a
Oh, I
whole
know.
other
That could
episode.
be a whole
Um,
episode.
what were there any
Um,
others
oh
favorites?
yeah, oh yeah. Another one that I just absolutely love and obsessed with is Ego Death at the Bachelorette Party. As
Hmm.
somebody who grew up in a very conservative town, who's always been left of center, there's been so many times where I've had to be in that racist country bar, you know? Like I know that people are saying that this is probably about a specific,
Yeah, Morgan
country or
Wallen. Yeah,
still s- still very relatable,
sure. Yeah.
like, and oh my god, it's so catchy and just like makes you just want to get up and dance, I just like the line that says, I also love this song, hard, like that one really gets me so much. The line where it says, only listen to testosterone music, I had to kill my feminine just to do it, to get to you. And I had to go through it. That line in specific from that song hit so hard, as not only as somebody who has lost themselves in an abusive relationship, but also as somebody who is like the only alt girl in the community. And anybody else who's listening who is an alternative girl has been through this in some manner,
Oh, I'm through that
where
right now where I live.
like,
I'm the only alt girl in
mhm,
my
yeah,
friend group, in my fiance's group. I am the only alt girl, and it is
yeah.
very difficult.
And it's just one of those things where you're constantly having to prove yourself worthy
Mhm.
of the genre. And a lot of that has to do with, like, I know me personally, like, it really made me hate any girly parts of myself, to the point that I started repressing any of it. I was just like, I don't like pop music. Like, which obviously not, because I've talked about it. That's a complete lie. Okay. I grew up on pop music along with like every genre. I have a love for pop music. Love
Mhm.
it. And it took leaving my abuser for me to go back to it and be like, now I love like the current age of pop currently. And I'm like, I literally killed that in myself so much, because I was just like, nope, that's not the cool alt thing to do. If I
Mhm.
do that, I'm a poser. And that's another reason why so much online as an alternative person, where I keep seeing like younger alternative people, whether they're goth or emo or anything, that are
Yeah.
girls or female presenting, and they're really trying to understand how to get into the community. I'm constantly going, do not listen to a single person that is telling you you're only allowed to listen to that specific genre, because it's bullshit. Those people who are saying that are the ones that are insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. Every time. If you have somebody who is trying to tell you that you're a poser because you listen to more than one genre, or if like you're goth and you don't wear black and a white face all the time, those people are insecure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because you do not have to be this very narrow, like, exact way of being to be in alt space. Most of them overlap. And so one reason why I keep stressing it as well is that you don't have to name every single label that you fall into, because let me tell you, there's a reason why I stuck with the son, like, oh my god, what's the word, synonym, or
Synonym?
like what you're notoriously known for. Like, anyway, the name that my online persona
It's gone.
is is the goth autistic. And the reason why I stuck with goth is because, for one, for me, that was my first subculture I got into.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I were to go for every single genre I am a part of, it would be like the goth, punk, emo, alternative, riot girl. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So, like, if you have somebody trying to be like, well, that's not goth, it's like, yeah, because some of us have crossovers and that's normal and that's fine. And
And
quit
it's just
being
life. We
weird.
all do, right? Like
Yeah.
exactly. Like and then
Yeah.
again, sometimes you want to be, especially as a woman, you want to be
Yeah.
feminine, and then sometimes you don't. Like it
Yeah.
just sometimes you're dressing like Adam Sandler, like I do on the daily.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's still feminine. I'm still a woman. It's still
Yes.
me. And I do see that a lot with genres. And then also people
Mhm.
thinking they have to be a certain way and they're not authentically themselves
Yes.
because
Yes.
I we see it now with like not to go off on a tangent because I know I want to get to the songs, but like even like with the we see it with the clean girl aesthetic coming
Yep.
back and people regretting their tattoos. I love my
Mhm.
tattoos. They are who I am. They will always
Yep.
be who I am. I want more. And I think we're living in an era where the clean girl aesthetic is coming back. So yeah, long story short, this song life, just be you, be your authentic self.
Mhm.
Even if you're not supported, you can find your
Yeah.
community that will support you. It took me a while to find it. I found it and I have it. And I
Mhm.
hope everybody does.
I think that's important to know. Like, if you feel like you're not supported and liked for the things you like and who you are, that's not your people.
No, exactly. Oh, yeah. No, I love that you brought that up because it's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Oh, it's so good.
Were
Mhm.
there any others?
I think the last one I would mention would be Kill Me. Given
Hmm.
it's
I
directed
knew that, by the
towards,
way, before you say it, these
yeah.
songs, we didn't, anyone listening, or if we put this up watching, I did not know what the ones, but I
Mhm. We
knew
usually
the
don't share
ones.
with each other
I
what
knew,
songs
I was
are
like,
about.
these are Justine
Yeah.
songs
Yeah.
in my mind.
Hmm.
So go ahead,
I was
go
gonna say, I'm
ahead.
like,
So
I knew you would know exactly who what I was gonna talk about.
yes,
Like,
yes.
uh, so with Kill Me, like, obviously I'm not the eldest daughter. However,
Hmm.
very relatable for somebody just full of trauma.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
this was relatable for me too. Yeah, exactly.
so full of trauma. Like, I'm full of
Hmm.
trauma, but like I am the youngest and the only daughter. So like, but
Hmm.
like still so relatable.
Yes.
I saw today, actually, before we recorded this, that a TikTok, I wish I could tell you the name of the TikToker. It wasn't really big, but she made a really good point that I'm like, yeah, 100% that this is related to that song. And it's been proven within like research and stuff that you carry trauma from your first to like descendants. So because you are technically in like your grandmother's womb first,
Hmm.
because like your mom's eggs and everything are in, so technically you inherit even your grandmother's trauma and your mother's, because it's all embedded because it's a part of their body.
Hmm.
And there's, oh my god, I can't even think this specific line where, but she mentions about like the ends with me. Before that, she talks, you can quickly hear that she's referencing that. Okay.
Hmm.
And it had a discussion of people being like, I don't think that's really what she meant. It's like, yes, it is. It's right there. It's
Yeah,
right there.
no, and
It's
I
not
see
what she
that
meant.
in my own life. I mean, I'm not going to air out my laundry, but
Yeah.
yes, and I
Yeah.
think about my grandmother, my
Hmm.
mother,
Yeah.
um,
I think about that kind of thing a lot
and
as somebody from like problematic family.
hmm yeah,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's so true, and like that's why it's so
Hmm.
funny that you not funny, but I was like,
Yeah.
I know you're going to talk
Yeah.
about these
It's just like
ones.
the line specifically for me where it was just like, kill me, I can't get much stronger.
Hmm
And it's just like I talk about a lot with my own social media and everything about I am somebody that deals with constant idolations as somebody who has both CPTSD and autism. It's very common if you're autistic to have it because that's what makes it different from like your typical breakdown. Autistic meltdown, you feel like you are just want to go like off yourself right there
hmm
because people don't understand how intense things can be and it can seem really little to somebody else but for us it literally is like I just need to go end it right now because I can't deal with this emotion anymore. Along with the CPTSD and everything like that, like all the trauma that I have gone through, what I constantly remind myself is like I want to die, but I'm gonna keep going.
hmm
Like,
And that will, and again, we talk about music and mental
yeah,
health. I mean, right there, that's why, again, Hayley Williams is so special
yeah,
because of what she allows us to see, I think, of
yeah,
ourselves in her music. Like what
hmm
you're describing right now, like
yeah.
you can pinpoint that, although she didn't write it about that.
Yeah. I think that's something important to remember as well to everybody is like because you have all these people trying to guess exactly what this song is about or
Yeah,
this
first
or
of all, can
that.
we not do that,
And we
everybody?
need to have a quick little talk about that to the younger generation, especially because I'm sure that there's people our age doing it as well. But like, as somebody with CPTSD, I'm going to tell you right now, I am constantly referencing from my memories that pop back up in flashback form and everything, and I'm constantly talking like it's just happened. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it had just happened with my
Oh
current
yeah,
partner.
same. Yeah.
Like for people to keep saying that obviously her and Taylor have broken up, we don't know that. And you guys need to stop saying that because as somebody we know that she has been through some trauma, she's gonna write about it in songs and she's gonna continue to write about it in
And,
songs. And it's
mhm.
like until she actually actively tells us it's over, stop being weird about trying to like,
And there have been many
pinpoint this
songs.
controversy. Like,
There's been many songs in the past and some Paramore,
mhm.
some of her
Yeah.
solo work that they have said it is this. And then she has comments on that is about my dog. That is
Yeah.
about my sister. That is
Yes.
about my friend. And for
Exactly.
me, it's like that's yeah, we have to it's
Yeah.
okay to think that and maybe wonder, but I think we have to understand that some of these probably took place years
Yes.
ago,
Yes.
which they
I can't
have.
remember which one specifically that I know I automatically assumed it was from her failed marriage. And you had everybody assuming it was about Taylor. And I'm like, did
Yeah.
y'all forget about what she's been through? Like, why do
People,
you
yeah.
like
I
why are you
think
going straight to that? Like,
especially people forget a lot of that. And even if
mhm.
you listen to her other work too, it gave her that outlet to talk
Yeah.
you dead horse,
Yeah.
simmer. Like, so like even for me, it's like I had True Believer.
Hmm.
But we've already talked about that. I don't need to say anything else. Just go listen to it. It's great. And then I prayed to God, or whatever we believe in, everybody. I say this right. Zisu? I think it's
Yeah,
so.
did you?
So for me, I had to put that one
It's so
because
good.
we talk about Haley, and I've said this to people before this 17 songs came out. I've always said this before there's a connection of three songs, and I don't need to go into it right now, but she's a water girl. She
Hmm.
uses water
Yeah.
metaphors to talk about her love. If you do not know, I will help you out. I have a chart somewhere of this somewhere in my Google Drives when and it's one of those things of I loved that about like there's lyrics of putting on the scuba suit and the water's
Hmm.
fine and it's almost to me letting us get another glimpse of where she is in that whether it's present past whatever it is. I love the water metaphor so I had to put it on because
Hmm.
it just speaks that is pure Hayley Williams at its best. using water metaphors to talk about love. And I
Yeah.
love when she does, and she's not just talking about love in a certain way. And again, if we talk about the song Pool, if you want to go back to Paramore, it's there. If you want to talk about Crystal Clear, and there's so many things to, and I know Crystal Clear is not Paramore before anyone, but anyways, it is Hayley Williams.
So,
But it's you
yeah.
see it there. And I just love that too, because I think that anytime people use metaphors and they're known for that. Again, I think of Me Without You is king of that. There are so many metaphors in there. And who does she love? Me
Mm-hmm.
Without You. Um, I put Glum, of course, because this
Yes.
was the very
Yes.
first one that
Oh,
I
so good.
really resonated with
Yeah.
because, of
Mm-hmm.
course, with her, and how she's 37 and she doesn't know what the fuck
Yeah.
she's doing
Mm-hmm.
here. And I
Yes.
think everybody, I
Oh my
have
gosh.
that feeling on the daily. There is not a
Yeah.
day, there isn't a
Wait.
day that
Oh,
goes and go by that I'm not sitting there like wondering, what am I doing here? What is my
yeah.
purpose? Do I have a purpose? Should I still be here? Why am I still here?
Yeah.
And then even like the lyric of her, like, it's just I believe this is a song, and if I messed up the song, they're 17, so like get over it, everybody.
There is a lot of
But
songs.
where she's in the driveway and the song is there, and she, just pulls up, and I think that actually I know what I'm talking about. I am talking about I think Negative Self-Talk. Either way, one of
Yeah.
those songs.
Yeah.
But Glum got me instantly with just the
It's
lyric
so
of
good.
her wondering what she's doing
And
there. And
I'd like to also just mention that, like, I feel like so many of us as millennials, especially, we are that, like, that generation where we finally were just like trying to be the curse breakers.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we're like, listen, we're getting old and we still don't know what the fuck we're doing. And we
Yeah. Oh
and it's
gosh.
so weird. And so to have her talk about that, but also just like for me as a chronically ill person, especially just that line about feeling so alone you could implode.
Hmm.
Like, oh God, it's
That's the one
just,
that got me on that
yeah,
one because yes,
so
I've been
relatable.
there. I think
Yeah.
that yeah, there's so many things there, and it's like, and then I get happy with my next one, Whim. I love Whim.
Hmm.
I think it's classic Hayley Williams. I think that's
Yes.
the Hayley Williams. If you were to give this song to someone who hasn't listened to her solo stuff, doesn't like or doesn't care for it,
Hmm.
or doesn't like This Is Why, isn't into that. If you hear Whim, I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm like, this is upbeat, Paramore-esque, Hayley Williams solo stuff thrown in there. But it's one of those things of just, I feel like I'm always like putting on a coat and like walking outside like to this. I don't know why. I always like visualize where I'm like, oh, it's a cold night and I'm listening to this. Like
Hmm.
there's something about it. And I think for me, where so many people would be like, okay, okay, like Lum, are you okay? Negative self-talk, are
Yeah.
you okay? Okay,
So
Whim,
those
oh, she
people are like, are
likes
you okay?
Whim. She likes Whim. It's okay
Mhm.
because she's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's like, okay.
So
I
I,
think that's what's so great too about the mixture of the songs is that, like, as somebody personally who is either like super fucking joyful or just like in the pits of despair,
yeah.
this compilation of songs just was meant for me. Like, it's just
Mm-hmm. Oh,
oh my God, I
that's
think
why
that's
it's
why
great with
it's
the
so good too.
playlist because
Yeah,
you can go,
yeah,
where are you feeling in that? And I think
yes.
where you place them matters because of what you're saying, like, because you can't
Mm-hmm.
have this whim in the middle of, say, negative self-talk and glum. You
Mm-hmm.
can't. Or
Yeah.
maybe you can. Maybe you want to put like,
I mean, hey,
it's,
you could,
you
but
know, you could do whatever,
you
but I
know,
think it's so and then I
yeah,
had to talk about hard, but more importantly because to me it is the sister to Simmer, and
yeah.
the reason it is are the lyrics. So in Simmer, when she's like, wrap me in petals, wrap me in your petals, and there's the soft femininity, and then you have hard, and then she talks about her rib cage being,
Mhm,
let me not get that wrong, my ribs are metal cages to guard my
mhm,
heart. So there are signs to me that where she wanted to be wrapped in petals and simmer and everything she was talking about in that song. And then you have years later, but it could potentially,
mhm.
who knows when these were written, but
Yeah.
years later when this is released hard,
Mhm.
you hear that. So again, nobody kill me on that. Just look at the lyrics. Simmer and
Well,
Hard are
you're
sisters.
not the only one that's been making connections to her past solo work, and that's
Yeah.
another reason why I wanted to point out as well with the everybody speculating like some of these songs are probably songs that she has had like cooking up here
Mhm.
for a while.
Yeah.
So for you to immediately go jumping to the like current state, like you can't do that, especially not with the artist. You can't do that.
No,
Like,
I think we just learn like so much of that. And I think for
yeah.
me, I mean, obviously, like I could put so many, but like I'm not going to talk about it because I could be here all day. But like
Yeah.
negative self-talk, Discovery Channel, because I love
Oh God, the
that
way she did
song
that is
and the
so
way
good.
I won't
Oh
quit
my
on
gosh.
you. I won't quit on you. I think is the last song I have on my playlist, just because
I
I think it
do
shows
want to quickly
growth.
mention really fast with Discovery Channel, there is a line that people are thinking that she added that she made about again the state of Paramore, but it was a line from Jumanji.
Hmm. So I'm saying
It's like,
we have to be so careful with
yeah,
artists and the parasocial relationships we
yes,
have.
yes,
It's great to love these artists. I just saw our favorite artist of all time, Anthony Green. And you hear things in the crowd too, like even with
mhm,
him, like anyone. I think it's really important that we understand, we listen. These
yes,
songs guide us. They
yes.
are our
It's
therapy in ways,
going to be relative in a way that's relative
but
to
we don't know
you,
these
but that doesn't
people.
mean that's what they're aiming.
No, and it's a beautiful way.
Yeah.
I always say this is a beautiful way that this music is written and
Hmm.
made. And it's probably like, for all I know, I'm listening to Hard and this, I'm not saying it's about Alf, her dog, but what if it is?
Yeah,
And I'm
it
sitting there
could
like,
be
it is
though.
this. And
Yeah.
what if it is? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, so you never want to
Yeah.
say what you think something is. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, these 17 songs, I love where they're headed. I
Yes.
love what it could bring maybe to Paramore music,
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree.
specifically because this is
Yeah.
why it was one of those ones that we heard so many different styles. And I think
Hmm.
to hear this, it's like, where's Paramore going to go next? Where's Hayley going to go next? And I love that she also put that it was released on Post Atlantic because they're out of the um, record label and contract Atlantic. I
Yeah.
love that she put Post Atlantic because I just thought it was
Hmm.
like, of course, she would do that. And only some people
Yeah.
noticed that. Some people were like,
Yeah.
what do you mean, like Post
I thought
Atlantic?
somebody mentioned it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's
Love
just
it.
at the end of the day, we could spend so much time talking about this. There's more to talk about. There's more songs to talk about. Maybe we'll even
Hmm.
do a part two sometime. But I think at the end of the day, it was really important to talk about Hayley, even though
Yeah.
we already have on this podcast. But just what she did with this release and the community aspect and just
Hmm.
the way she released it. Again, being Hayley Williams, she could have
Hmm.
easily put this out
Yeah.
in such a way that everybody puts it out. I do like that she put it on streaming services. I know people love or hate that. I do kind of like that now because
Hmm.
I can make a playlist. I can have that and we can take part in that. And I think it was kind of cool. What I would love to see is like, I don't know, a way to not custom CD, but like you could order like, all right, it's those blank CDs and then
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
something cool like that.
Yeah.
I would love to see the rollout of that.
Yeah.
And I know she talked about maybe possibly doing physical. I mean, we'll have to see, but
Yeah.
for me, this was just it was just so great. And I'm glad that we got to talk about it. And if you have
Yeah.
not listened to it, go listen to it and then make your playlist. I would love for you guys to tag us in your playlist as well, because I would love to see the different takes. Because again, my story was very, let's talk about, when we're really low and then go into the highs of a relationship with putting Wim near. Like, I love to create a story. I would love to see maybe people are just not into that and they just want to enjoy it. But either way, I think it's really, really great. And I love Hayley Williams. And
Yeah.
ever a time to manifest, would love one day Hayley Williams to just pick your
Yeah.
brain and figure out,
She's bucket list for sure.
oh gosh, yeah. I
We
mean,
would, oh God,
yeah,
we would love to find her.
we thought we cried
Yeah,
with Anthony Green.
yeah,
Like, listen.
yeah. No,
Um,
there would probably be sobbing.
It's
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And I
Yeah.
think it's just so important. So again, like if you made it this far and you haven't dove in, go dive in.
Mhm.
And let us know your favorites. And obviously, as always, we have new episodes every Tuesday. And if you love this episode, if you even didn't like it, follow us. Maybe there's an episode you will like that is going to come out. I hope you like this one though. Follow, a positive rating and review goes such a long way for an independent pod like ours. So many people have already done it. We really appreciate that. And I also just want to give you guys, because by the time this comes out, we may be sort of soft launching. This podcast is a part of the Never a Phase network. It is a collective of people just like you and I that love the scene, whether it is making a zine, doing content, a podcast, truly people that have lived the scene. You know, I think a lot of times we see people that say they were in the scene, they're a part of it. These people truly are part of the scene. It's really, really cool. All links below for that. You're going to start to see more rollout of Never Phase Network. I'm proud that we're a part of the network. There's a lot more to come. So I have to plug that. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, guys.